Listen, you guys know me. I love body horror. I think it's fun, and I love it when cinema has such a physical effect on me. So when I heard we were getting a new Luca Guadagnino and Timmy project and it was a body horror film, I threw my chair out the window. What I did not expect was for it to be one of the grossest body horror films I'd ever seen. And I loved it. Let's get into it. Bones and All is a coming-of-age cannibal romance road trip movie. Talk about a mouthful, starring Taylor Russell, Timothée Chalamet, and Mark Rylance. The basic premise is that Maren, played by Russell, has to hit the road after her father abandons her, and in the process, she meets Lee, played by Chalamet. The two form a bond, but due to their otherness, their urge to eat other people, things get complicated. I am simply fascinated and a little amazed at how well this thing balances its tones. Balancing tone isn't really the right way to put it though, as it feels like this invents a new tone entirely. I personally have never seen a movie like this. Like, I wouldn't call this a full-on horror movie, despite it having scarier scenes than most horror films I've seen in the last few years, and I also wouldn't call it a full-on romance, despite there being more intimacy than most romance films I've seen in the last few years. At the end of the day, it's just a Luca Guadagnino movie, smashing Suspiria and Call Me By Your Name together as a flex and saying, yeah, I know how to direct a human body, all while being pretty fun in the process. I mean, that's the thing, right? I feel like if you're gonna make a movie like this, a cannibal romance, a coming-of-age story, you gotta have a little self-awareness, no? Because speaking as a viewer who fully believed the story and really enjoyed this movie, I admittedly never did come around to the cannibalism thing as something sincere. The guy can shoot these two with rose-tinted glasses all damn day and make them look so cute together, and I'm gonna say aw. Of course I'm gonna say aw. But you are a fool if you think I can overlook the whole cannibal thing. And Guadagnino knows that, and miraculously can pull off going from a super intimate and vulnerable moment to insane body horror chaos. He does it seamlessly. If you're anything like the group of old ladies at my screening who went to this expecting Call Me By Your Name 2 and walked out before Timothy's character even showed up, maybe skip this one. I owe a lot of the grossness to the sound design. You hear every crack and slurp, and I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It sounds like they're eating soup. Like, come on, suppose you've seen Call Me By Your Name or Suspiria. In that case, you know Guadagnino pays a lot of attention to sensuality and the human body in his films, proving he has a clear understanding of where to put the camera and how to shoot a specific touch. It's a unique skill of his that makes his movies so inviting no matter the subject, and when you apply that to cannibalism, you get a very realistic movie about cannibalism. But like I mentioned, it's very inviting for the most part. The film mainly takes place in the Midwest in the 80s during what feels like a nice, warm summer, and you feel that Midwestern warmth throughout the film. He does a great job capturing small towns. I know most of this was shot in Ohio, but speaking as a Minnesotan, I was truly blown away at how well this Italian man managed to capture rural Minnesota. Good job. And because of this visually inviting aesthetic, this is no doubt going to run Tumblr like nobody's business for the next few years. Taylor Russell just dominates this movie. There are barely any scenes without her, and the character itself comes with a lot of baggage that she performs perfectly. She plays Maren subtly and mysteriously. It's a tough character to crack, and she reveals emotion and information at all the right times, in all the right ways. Timothée Chalamet also delivers one of my favorite performances by him. Honestly, it might just be my favorite. It felt like the first time I noticed just how unique his screen presence is, how he can deliver lines in ways no other actor can pull off, but he has just the right amount of weirdness to make it work. All the stuff with his sister, played by the amazing Anna Cobb, so glad to see her in something like this. All of that stuff was so touching. That's the part of the movie that cut deepest to me, at least. And then there's frickin' Mark Rylance, who plays just the creepiest dude of the year. There's not even a competition. This dude is slimy. Oh my god, what a perfect character. Every choice that went into making this guy was the right one because it plays with your emotion nonstop, and I don't want to give anything else away about it. He's wearing feathers. It's great. Michael Stuhlbarg is also pretty much unrecognizable and bone-chilling in this movie, literally the complete opposite of whatever he was doing in Call Me By Your Name, and I love that. I think in general, basically every character that pops up in this thing has some quirk about them that you can't forget about. I love movies, specifically road movies like this, where it seems we just go from one weird person to the next, and by the end of it, you have this little strange world that you just spent 2 hours in. And this is so perfect for a movie taking place in a bunch of isolating Midwestern towns. It felt not only authentic to how weird some of these places are, but also added to the absurdity of the script in a really fun way. Like, of course, they can smell each other. Sure, yeah, amazing. I wish I had more to offer as far as analysis goes for what this whole movie means, but to be honest, I don't think it's meant to be any specific thing or meant to be a metaphor exactly. Them being cannibals is just used as a fun and absurd way of exploring being an outsider as a young person. And the film deals with how this specific trait affects people deep into their lives, how it affects families, and how it affects normal, everyday people with good intentions. It's a loose enough narrative that you can apply it to several different themes: drug addiction, sexuality, gender, etc. And I think that's why this just really worked for me. Despite not feeling like I was 100% there emotionally with this film, I think it's one of those things that I could just sit back and enjoy regardless because of its strange premise and world. There was always enough to keep me invested. Plus, maybe this is one of those films where my first viewing was mostly shock and awe, but my second will allow me to pay more attention to the characters and pick up on the emotional core a bit better. I guess if you can't tell, I went about this film with a sense of trust and acceptance about everything that was happening. Like, it won me over immediately, and it never lost me. Despite its absurdity, every choice it made felt very human at the end of the day. This isn't a dystopian society or something, it's just the Midwest. Which, that being said, I'm a little shocked these murders weren't a bigger deal in these towns, but who cares? If you can't tell, I don't have a lot of complaints about this thing. It's a little long, I guess, and some scenes move a little slower than I'd like them to. I didn't even mention the score. The score is so good. Everything about the tone and atmosphere is up my alley. Hard to complain after a certain point. And as strange as this sounds, knowing the specific grounded ways this goes about its more realistic themes, I'm sure this film will mean a lot to many young people, especially the ones who like to eat others. And that's what I gotta say. Thanks for watching. Go watch Bones and All and form your own opinion, and I'll see you in the next one.